Citizen Slave! Hello, and welcome to Talking Title Screens, a little series I do where I deconstruct video game title screens on the fly. Now, as I said, on the fly, so if I miss anything that you spot, by all means chuck it in the comments. So this time around, we're going to take a look at Metro Exodus, which I think has got some pretty damn fine title screens. And I say screens for a reason, but we'll get to that. So let's take a look at the first title screen of the game when you first start. And it's really intricate, it's nicely designed, and it foreshadows the journey that you're about to undertake, which I think is brilliant. It fits the game's concept so very, very well. So let's take a look around, shall we? So on that left-hand side, you've got that just dial moving a little bit. You've got the red light for the new game. You've got those blinking lights at the bottom, the orange and the green. The embers just burning on the left-hand side to suggest that this train it's kind of ready to go. You've got that map there, old school paper map, which is obscured just at the top by the light that comes across. I like the way each of the chapters continue and options are these little kind of intricate mechanical boxes that are part of the train's design. I really like that. And then you've got the monitor with the scan line that very slowly moves across that new game screen. You've got a little counter at the top there, all at zeros because the journey hasn't begun yet. The handles everywhere, making it feel like an old school train the way it's designed, a big bulky Russian train that will move through the snow. Everything is lo-fi, which really fits the Metro universe, obviously. And then let's take a look at the windows. We've got, just at the top there, we've got that window in the middle almost with the cable just moving left and right. That slightly bigger window with the wires that cross that little blue part on that wire on the right hand side. And again, just one of the cables ever so slightly moving in the background. And then we've got that much larger window in the bottom right of the screen with the track moving off into the distance, the light on the outside, and just that rag just blowing in the wind in the distance. And a few lights dotted around as well. It's quite low contrast and it feels quite rustic. The whole scene does. And that's what it should feel like on this kind of transport. I also like the framing of everything. The way the yellow handle at the bottom curves around the rest of the bottom of the title screen there. And even that yellow pipe with 198 and the red kind of bandaging around the bottom. Just the way it frames and gives it distance between the foreground and that distance outside where the tracks lead to. Now I just think this is wonderfully designed. It's got great depth. It suits not only the aesthetic of the game, but also the way the narrative works. The fact that within Metro Exodus, rather than just moving through the metro, you're on a train moving to these different locations. And of course, you haven't started yet with this title screen, so it's suggesting we're about to get going. We're about to start our journey. And also you'll notice like the plumes of smoke out of the front now and again through that window. Just there it is, there it goes. And I just like the way that we have these little touches everywhere suggesting the train just needs to be kicked into action and off we go, which I think is really such a wonderful way to introduce the player to the game before they've even pressed that start button. Let's take a listen to the music for a minute. So the music starts with really melancholy, kind of discordant guitar strings, And then slowly but surely it becomes more consistent. We get those drums that kick in, but it's very melancholy, very, very downbeat, almost macabre. But as the song develops, we end up with these strings, which are a bit more hopeful and a bit more uplifting, and have that kind of melding but opposition to the more melancholy elements of the song. And that's pretty much what Metro is. Metro is about this world that has almost ended with the survivors of the human race in Russia, underground in the Metro, locked away, monsters everywhere, and the hope that maybe there's more than that. They can get out the Metro, they can rebuild civilization. So that the music works really, really well with not only the aesthetic of the title screen, but with the actual journey of the game. Just the dichotomy between those two things, survival and hope. Now, one thing Metro does, which some title screens do, like The Last of Us, as you play the game, the title screen actually changes, which is, I think more games should do it because it's brilliant. It reflects the journey you go on as a player before you press the start button. When you boot up the game, you're like, so I'm at this point. That is really cool to see. So let's take a look at the change then. So this is a bit further in the game. And I won't do any more title screens past this one because I haven't got there yet for starters, but also I don't want to spoil any narrative elements in case the title screen shows someone or something that will give away part of the plot. So let's take a look at this one then. So this is a bit different and I really like it again. So we've got the same kind of setup, obviously, the same framing. But we've now got our wife to our right, drinking a hot cup of tea or something. Above the monitor with the scan line, we have what I presume to be our drink, just sat there, gently moving as liquid would with the motion of the train. Because now, of course, the train's in motion, we're on our journey, we've moved forward with the narrative. Also, just little touches. The 777 where the counter is. So now that's how far we've moved forward from the original, which just had the zeros. And again, what I really like about this is the way the motion works. So the train itself is just ever so slightly shuddering as a train would. And then we've got the snow effects outside, the little particles moving, the trees moving in the wind and moving by really quickly, and all the foliage. And then we've also got just little touches again to show the movement, the handle bobbing up and down, the dog tag gently swaying. It all works brilliantly and cohesively to suggest we've moved on from the prior title screen and moved forward with the game. Just works amazingly well. So well designed as a concurrent changing title screen. Brilliant stuff. Let's take a listen to the music for this title screen. Now, the music is exactly the same as the initial title screen, no difference there. But what we do have is the sound of the train moving on the tracks, the wheels moving over those tracks, that very distinct sound you get when you're on a train. And it works in combination with the cup's liquid moving and the cables bouncing above it, and really makes you feel like this train is properly in motion. And that's what it's there for, as a device to move the narrative forward and to move to these different locations in Metro Exodus. Right, so that was Metro Exodus's title screen. If I've missed something and you've spotted it, or you've got future suggestions for episodes of Talking Title Screens, by all means, chuck them in the comments. But one of the best I've seen in a little while, I think. A really beautifully designed, magnificently framed, and wonderfully cohesive piece of title screen design. Right then, I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, maybe like the video, possibly even sub to the channel. If you didn't like it, hit that dislike button. Not everybody likes everything. Take it easy. I shall see you very soon. Citizen slave!